What's going on, everyone? I am your host, Tramel Thompson, and welcome to the Progressive Action TV show. You guys see what the title of the show is today. If you can't beat them, join them. We're going to be talking about Labor Relations Officer Valerie Dabas, and I just want to make this clear. I don't have any issues with her. I'm just reporting the news, and I'm just trying to bring some sort of insight as to how things may be working in the MTA regarding discipline and the officers who administer the discipline. So we're going to be going over her case. She had a case with the Port Authority of New York. Hold on one second. She had a case with the Port Authority of New York where she sued them for a Title VII claim in which she says that she was discriminated on because she was a black female compared to her white counterparts, how, they was making more money, they was getting certain positions and things of that nature. So I'm going to be breaking down that lawsuit and showing y'all the paperwork from that lawsuit. And I'm going to show you guys some discrepancies within that lawsuit that raised suspicion to me. But like I said, I have no problem with Valerie. I've met her a couple of times. I've spoken with her. I even heard rumors that management and the union think that it's her giving me information. So I know after this show, Valerie probably is never going to talk to me again. It's definitely going to quell the rumors of her giving me information. The MTA don't really know who's giving me information. They don't know if the people still work here. They don't know if they active. They don't know what's going on, and they never will find out. Man, and I think I'm going to do a show soon with the people who they accused, because remember, I got a recording of people they did accuse. Maybe I will invite them on the show, because I did hear that those guys are being targeted because the bosses of the MTA think that these people are helping me. But yeah, we're going to be discussing Ms. Dabas' claim. And let's get into the first part of the paperwork. So as you can see, she filed a Title VII complaint. And for those who don't know, a Title VII complaint is based for alleged discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, national origin, or retaliation. Now, in the instance of Valerie Dabas, she says she was discriminated on because of her race, she's black, and her gender, because she's a female. And let me show you guys the paperwork for that. Let's bring that up. There we go, right there. So as you can see in both of the squared rectangles, you see it says in Part A, the discriminatory conduct of which I complain in this action includes, check all that apply. She checked the failure to promote her and unequal terms and conditions of my employment. And then if you look in box D, it shows you what she felt she was discriminated against based on, one, she checked race because she was black, and the gender because she was a female. Now, I want to show you guys what she was seeking for her claim if the EEO would have substantiated her claim. As you can see, she said to be made whole for the period in which I worked and was paid less than my male counterpart, who also held the title of Senior Labor Relations Specialist. I am also seeking damages for attorneys and court fees, lost wages, punitive damages, and emotional distress. Now, I'm going to bring this document up a little later on in the show because she seems to contradict herself regarding this. She seems to contradict herself. Now, what was she claiming? Let's get into the meat and potatoes of what she was claiming. So if you see the bold print, they was just basically asking her, what is her claim? Now, I'm not going to read all of her claim. It was like 4 or 5 pages long of a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm only going to focus on a couple of things. So it says, Mr. Darcy and I were hired around the same time in July of 2016. We interviewed for the same position, except Mr. Darcy was not required to provide a on-the-spot writing sample, which was not sanctioned by Human Resources. I later learned that my interview was just a formality because they needed to interview a certain number of candidates in order to give Mr. Darcy the position. Fortunately, another position was open at the Department of Security, and after interviewing absent a writing sample, I was selected. The fact that the titles were identical with same job requirements as per the postings, but the salary offers were significantly different, is a clear example of how differently we were treated from the very onset. The Port Authority of New York and New Jersey can't point to any policy accomplishments by Mr. Darcy that exceeded my accomplishments during our 2-year tenure. Mr. Darcy was offered a starting salary of $110,000, while I was offered a starting salary of $96,000. The following year, 2017, Mr. Darcy's salary was $112,000, while I made $98,000. In 2018, Mr. Darcy's salary was approximately $128,000, while my salary remained under $100,000, although we maintained the same title until approximately July 31st, 2018. Now, basically what she's saying is that they do the same thing that the MTA do now, that she's aware of that happens at the MTA. She actually experienced in the Port Authority of New York where the company already know who they want to choose for the spot, but just for formality purposes, so they can meet these certain thresholds so they won't be called racist. They do these things and choose who they want to choose. And she was actually affected by that, right? Now, I want to say something about that within itself. I believe that she was discriminated against. The Old Boys Network is in a whole bunch of these companies. They especially the transportation industries for some reason. The Old Boys Network thrives, white supremacy thrives in transportation agencies. We see it time and time again in New York City Transit. Now let's get into the next part of the paperwork. So basically this was explaining her position again. She was denied a promotion so that someone less qualified would get the position. She named the person. She was offered a lower starting salary than that same male, Mr. Darcy. And she claimed the individual was a white male and she was a black female. Now, this is very significant because, you know, it shows that the MTA is not alone when it comes to discriminatory practices against women and black people. And as you can see, let me bring this up just to remind you guys that this actually is happening right now in the MTA. I got to find this document, and I hope that I can find it. I have to find this document. Let me see. I have to bring this up because this is very important. And I cannot find that document. But it was a document talking about underutilized employees. And guess who came up more times than not? Women and black people. And this is currently from the MTA diversity team. Like, how crazy is that? This is from the MTA diversity team that this came up. And it's sad. You know, we are actually experiencing the same things that, oh, here we go right here. I got it right here. Let me bring that up. Let me blow that up for you guys so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Sample of job titles within underutilized categories, and specifically speaking in management positions and leadership positions. If you look at the top, underutilized areas, females, blacks, and Hispanics. So the same thing that Valerie, the boss, was experiencing at the Port Authority, people are actually experiencing right now in New York City Transit, a transit authority in which she have power to say is in certain things, because she is in labor relations, and people think that labor relations only consist of discipline, and it does not. So that's very important. So I definitely believe that she had a fight here. Now, I would say this also, because this is like the next thing that I'm worrying about with her. And let me bring up this document. If you look at what I got sectioned off there in the green, I believe that this is the point where she was losing faith in the system. So they asked her, have you sought help about the situation from a union, an attorney, or any other source? Provide name of organization, name of person you spoke with, and date of contact, results if any. She said yes, EEO at the Port Authority, who stated they would investigate, but when I could not take it anymore and left, I was told I would not hear back. See, this is very important. This is very important because she went to the EEO in the Port Authority. And like I said, it's the same thing like the EEO and the MTA. They are not there to protect you. They will protect you if it's employee that's similarly situated, which means that if it's a conductor against a conductor, if it's a train operator against a conductor, they will do their job then. But when it's about a supervisor, specifically speaking, high-ranking supervisors, they will not substantiate the claims for the simple fact that if they substantiate a claim at that level, then a lawsuit will happen, and they know that. So all of these EEOs, these SIRs, they are only there to protect the MTA from lawsuits. Yes, they will substantiate a claim against you and another coworker of your rank, but they will not substantiate claim of a higher ranking manager that will end up in a lawsuit and costing the MTA, if not hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. So I believe that this is the point where she began to lose faith. She began to lose faith because they said that, if she leave, they basically go drop the case. And I don't believe that that should be fair. I think that if claims are made, the claim should be seen through whether that employee is there or not. Because what if that employee decides to come back? Or what if this person that they are alleging are doing these things continue to do it because nothing happened the first, second, or third time, in which how these EEOs and these SIRs function, right? So now at that point, I guess she knew that the fix was in. I think that she realized that the fix was in, and what ended up happening was this. And you see I have the Lulu section in green, and I'm going to read that. It says, I recently received information that a similarly situated colleague's case had proceeded, which prompted me to reach out to Dana Marucci from your office on Friday, September 27th. On Monday, September 30th, she informed me that my claim was dismissed back in August. I advised her that I had received no notification, and she suggested that I appeal to you for reconsideration. So she actually sent this letter to a director of the EEO because she found out that her claim was thrown out, basically, right? Her claim was thrown out, and she was appealing for reconsideration. See, at that point, she became a victim of the system. She became a victim of the same exact system that she's holding up now, right? So let's continue examining these documents. So in this document, it says, based on this analysis, the commission is unable to conclude that the information establishes a violation of federal law on the part of respondent. This does not certify that respondent is in compliance with the statutes. No finding is made as to any other issue that might be construed as having been raised by this charge. So as you can see, they threw out her complaint. They was unable to conclude that the information establishes a violation of federal law on the part of the respondent. She is the respondent. Let's go to the next part that explains it a little bit more. It says the EEOC issues the following determination. Based upon its investigation, the EEOC is unable to conclude that the information obtained establishes violations of the statutes. This does not certify that the respondent is in compliance with the statutes. No finding is made as to any other issues that might be construed as having been raised by the charge. Now, I know at this point that Valerie was upset that it went this way. You know, I'm quite sure that she wanted to get some type of justice because, you know, to get discriminated against because of your gender, because of the color of your skin, to see white people get what you deserve, or you're training these white people to do jobs that you're qualified to do, and they didn't give it to you because of some racial discrimination. And I'm not saying that this happened in this case, but based on her allegations, I know what it feels like. I know how she feels. Now, they get into something with adverse actions, right? And with these adverse actions, it's very similar like the show I did with Denise Plato, who alleged that she was being discriminated against by the Sarah Maya, which she is like a communication officer with the MTA or something like that. But the adverse action is similar, and we see it right here. She says, I was passed over for promotion on July 31st, 2018 by a white male that is less qualified and was not given a reason as to why. In addition, it has come to my attention that this male who held the same title with less responsibilities as me was making 15% more than myself, and another female that held the same title. I am now training this individual in many of the job function that is not familiar with, but I am. How crazy is that? The same exact thing that Danette Plato's going through here in the MTA. Valerie Dabas, labor relations officer, went through at the Port Authority. How crazy is that? How crazy is that? Now, I find this to be, I won't say I find this to be funny, but I do find this part right here to be interesting. It says, in early October of 2018, I advised the group that I would be leaving the agency due to the stress related to my claim and that I was able to secure employment elsewhere. This is when she came to work for the MTA. I was advised by Ms. Dunson Harrison that once I terminated my employment with the Port Authority, New York, New Jersey, my claim would be void and they would stop their investigation. Ms. Crespo, however, stated that she would be able to update me on the ethics investigation that coincided with my claim. I was a witness. I need y'all to pay attention to this right here. I was a witness to various ethic violations during my tenure at the Port Authority, New York, New Jersey, some of which were directly linked to the vacancies in my department. You know what that sound like to me? It sound like that Valerie Dabas is a whistleblower. She plainly states she was a witness to various ethic violations during her tenure at Port Authority, New York, and New Jersey. She is a whistleblower. So me and her have something in common. We have something in common. Let me go to the next document. So now I want to say this. Um, it's funny, ironically, because she's not directly affected here at the MTA. She has decided to tuck her whistle her whistle away. She was a whistleblower at the Port Authority because it directly impacted her. But here at the MTA, her whistle is tucked away. And, that's why the title of the show is called If You Can't Beat Them, Join Them. I say this time and time again. People will only get involved with things that directly affects them. If it does not directly affect them and it's happening around them, they do not care. And this is evident here in the MTA because Valerie Dabas, she can't say that she doesn't know that these situations exist. She's in labor relations where these things are more prevalent than not, but she does not care because this time it does not directly affect her. It does not directly affect her. Now, with this last piece of document, what I got squared away in the green, I began working for the above employer in August 2016 in the position of Senior Labor Relations Specialist, and I remained in this role through to my resignation in October 2018. I resigned after being denied an internal promotion on the basis of my race, black, and sex female. Instead, a lesser qualified white male was selected. No reason was given by respondent for same. It is at this time that I realized that this same candidate was offered a higher starting salary for the same title with far less responsibilities than my position around the same time as me, June 2016. Given the above, I believe I have been discriminated against due to my race, black, and sex female in violation of Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended. So, it's pretty clear how, she really felt like she was discriminated against because she was a black woman. And I want to bring up these last two documents because I was I'm not sure what's going on here. I mean, I know what's going on. She tried to actually finagle the system, but it ended up not working out in her favor. So let me bring up this document again. Now, I read this before early in the show when they asked her what she wanted her relief to be, and she said to be made whole for the period in which I worked and was paid less than my male counterpart, who also held the title of Senior Labor Relations Specialist. I am also seeking damages for attorneys, and court fees, lost wages, punitive damages, and emotional distress. Now, I find it strange. Let me bring up this next document. When they threw out her case and she was trying to appeal to them and state her claim, this is what she wrote. Unfortunately, ignorant of the process and absent legal counsel, I interpreted the statement, it would be helpful to EEOC's investigation if you provide a response to the respondent's position statement by August 18th, 2019, included in the email as a suggestion and not a request for more information. I erroneously assumed that it was not necessary to write a response since I will be interviewed by the Newark EEOC officers. While I have many years of experience as a labor relations practitioner, I now realize that I am truly deficient in knowledge as it relates to the EEOC process. For that, I should not forfeit my claim. Now, once again, let's go back to the other document. She says she's seeking damages for attorneys and court fees, lost wages, punitive damages, and emotional distress. When her case got thrown out, she claimed that she was absent legal counsel, was her exact words. My question is, why would you claim attorney and court fees during the EEO investigation if you claiming you had no attorney from the beginning? And what court fees is there if you're going through the EEO? The EEO cannot grant you that. Now, you only divulged you didn't have an attorney as an excuse in hopes that the EEO investigator would sympathize with you for being ignorant in how the system works. You even said it yourself that you was ignorant of the process. Now, we already know the saying for things like this. We already know the saying, people. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Ignorance of the law is not an excuse. Now, I just wanted to bring up the show. I wanted to do the show today to put us in a mind frame. You know, she's in a very important position in the company. She administers discipline in this company. She is in labor relations. She's supposed to make sure that the labor relations is right between employees and the company. And someone who went through something like this, right? How much faith do they have in the system? And then what happens when they become the system? Do they want people to go through the same thing that they went through? Because we know that Valerie Dabas sees everything that she complained at the Port Authority, New York and New Jersey, at New York City Transit. She watches my shows. This is a fact. She hear the complaints. But like I said, when people are not being directly affected, they don't care what's happening around them. So essentially, Ms. Dabas is upholding the status quo because she's not being directly affected this time. And I'm going to say this. If she get a promotion, they are only promoting people who's going to uphold the status quo, which means that you have to show them that you are one of them before you get a promotion in this company. And Valerie, I know that you experienced that in the Port Authority, New York and New Jersey, but now you're benefiting from who you didn't like at the Port Authority, New York and New Jersey. You becoming one of them because you know of the issues that's here. And I don't think that you're a bad woman. You never did anything to me that I know about, besides turning your cheek towards the claims that I'm making about the racism and the retaliation. You seem to go silent on that, even though you experienced that throughout your professional career. And, you know, I'm just reporting the news. I have nothing against Valerie Dabas. I know, like I said, in the beginning of the show, people think that it was her giving me information. Even if it was, I would not say it. And, you know, she's a part of that old boys network. And like I said, the old boys network doesn't consist of old white men. It's not that. The old boys network is an ideology. It's a cult. Just like how white supremacy is an ideology, it's a cult. She's a part of that. She's upholding that old boys network, something that she despised, something that she claimed that she was stressed about, something that she ran from. And we have to be careful with people like that, because when we run into those problems and we probably take it to her, she'll probably say, go find a new job, because instead of her standing there and fighting tooth and nail, she decided to run because she was stressed out. And maybe she was. I'm not saying that she wasn't. Maybe she was. But a lot of us employees here, we are not built for that. We're not built to run and continue to run from problems, because at every agency, no matter where you go, you may face the same problems. And at what point do you stay and stand to fight? At what point do you stand and fight? So, you know, I thought that this information was very relevant. And actually, I have so many shows to release. I have more court documents to talk about, specifically speaking with some MTA officers who I found out they was doing some craziness with me. I got some things to talk about with that. And you see what my shirt say. Y'all see what my shirt say, right? Be a vibe. Be a vibe. Vibrate. Be a vibe. And if you like this show, you could donate. Donate, you see it right there. You see it right there. You could donate right there to the Cash App. The Cash App is $ Progressive Action 100. Show us love. Show us some support. We go continue to bring you the shows that matters, bring you the information that matters, and keep the fight alive. Catch you guys later. Peace.